As a player, he was phenomenal.
Barkley for three!
As a personality, he is captivating.
Just shopping me around like a piece of meat.
He's openly honest. That's Charles.
As a broadcaster, he's one of a kind.
I'm sorry, America.
Now a man known for generating big numbers faces the big 5-0.
Wow, that's really old.
It's a celebration of excellence.
I should think I'm the best player in the world, to be honest with you.
And a journey within.
It was tough because I was angry for a long time.
It's an in-depth conversation with one of sports' most engaging figures.
You thought you had eaten your way out of Philadelphia.
I did.
This is Sir Charles at 50.
Well, first of all, that's your lunch. First of all, happy 50th.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sound funny hearing that?
It does, but I'm excited for it. Because I look at it, that's to me is a benchmark. Like you've had a good life if you make it to 50. I don't mean to sound sentimental or silly, but I think if you've been here 50 years, that's a good number.
Let's go way back.
Okay.
Leeds, Alabama. Was this just give me a typical day in the life of Charles Barkley as a kid?
Well, I think my mom was a maid. I got my little cleaning issues today because of that.
Oh, really?
Because
you don't have issues. You just like to be in a clean work area.
It wasn't initially like that because my mom was a maid and my grandmother worked in a meat packing factory. So my mom says, now when I come home, I'm not doing any cleaning. So the only thing I wouldn't do is wash dishes. But the rest of the house, I kept clean because she was very strict on that. She said, I'm not going to go and clean other people's houses and come home and clean. And me being the older brother, I had to do all the heavy lifting.
We had our crew go to Leeds. I knew that would elicit a reaction, even knowing there's a camera crew in Leeds.
It's a dangerous thing.
To talk to folks who remember
yes.
Way back when. Take a look.
I've known him forever. I first got involved with Charles when he was a senior in high school.
He was a freshman, and I was a first-year teacher from Auburn University.
I've been knowing him all his life.
I remember him being real short and fat. Very competitive also.
When the other guys was getting in trouble, me and Charles was on the courts.
When he was 14, he and his cousin went fishing one day. Didn't I tell you not to go to fishing without an adult? I said, okay. Pull your pants down and lay on your stomach and get across the bed. Mama, you gonna whoop me? I said, I sure am. Mama, I didn't believe you whooped me at 14 years old. I said, well, if you act like a child, I said, that's what children get when they don't mind.
He's always had that strong will about it, and he still has it today.
Well, Charles was very competitive on the court. He always thought he was the best player out there.
He couldn't be beat, didn't want to be beat. If you beat him, you better be ready to play again.
We actually had a little recruiting group for Auburn University, and I want y'all to know the best thing that we ever did for Auburn University was recruit Charles Barkley with that basketball down there.
He was just magnificent on the court. Had this gym completely full.
Well, I found out, back in my days that the coaches tell you what they want you to hear. The guy that you need to talk to is the student manager. So we had befriended the student manager, and I asked him, I said, well, how does my man Charles Barkley do it? His eyes got big. He said, we never had anything like this down here. He said, we got a kid named Darryl Lockhart who's a senior. He's 6'9". He's never had a shot blocked. He said, Charles blocked the first 3 shots through the first practice.
He has been a blessing to me and so many other people.
We're just really glad he's from Leeds, Alabama.
Your mom's a piece of work.
That's an understatement. you know what's interesting because, I don't even think, she's kind of embellishes her toughness. My grandmother's a lot tougher than her.
Oh, really?
Oh, my grandmother is by far and away the toughest lady I've ever met.
You and I have never really talked about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about him now?
We do now. It was tough because I was angry for a long time.
Well, what was the story?
He was gone. He wasn't
From
there.
where? From what point?
You know what, Ernie, as far as back as I can remember, I don't even know how long ago it was. One of the great things that we today we are cool, but I was angry for a long time because you see your mother struggling.
Did you ever ask him why wasn't he there?
You know what, Ernie, I do not, because I think divorce is very difficult, and you know, so it just didn't work between them. The only regret that I had is that he wasn't there when we were struggling. That's the only regret that I have. I think, to be honest with you, I was angry at my dad more financially to not be there. Because when you're struggling, you're angry. And the maddest I've ever been in my life, you know, I didn't graduate from high school.
Right.
I flunked Spanish.
And you had to watch graduation.
I did. In Leeds, they graduate outside. And I didn't tell people this till probably 10 to 15 years later. My dad had flew across the country to see me graduate, and he had the audacity to get mad at me because I didn't graduate. And I was already devastated I didn't graduate. So that night, I didn't tell anybody. I just disappeared. I drove to the high school, and the baseball stadium goes up a little higher. So I stood there for I want to say 2 hours straight just crying. And I was so angry. I was angry at my dad for getting mad at me for not graduating. I was mad at myself. I didn't realize till later it was my fault. It was my fault. I was mad at Miss Gomez, my Spanish teacher. I didn't realize till later it wasn't her fault. It was my fault I flunked my Spanish exam. But I stood there for 2 hours and just cried the whole time. And then, okay, I did. I said, okay, this is the last night that I'm not going to control my own destiny. I said, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get my degree, and become successful.
What was it that Sonny Smith said that told you, I got to go to Auburn?
The true story is, Auburn was my third choice.
Where'd you want to go?
Well, I was going to stay close to my grandmother and my mother. So I was going to go to UAB, which is obviously in Birmingham, which is 20 minutes away. But people forget that year they made it to the Sweet 16 and had everybody coming back. I said, okay. Because I said my confidence is not full-blown at this point. My confidence, I don't have great confidence. I mean, I'm playing well, but good players can't become really good until they develop that great confidence in their ability. So then I was going to go to Alabama. Well, Alabama actually made it to the Sweet 16 that year also. So then when I go visit Auburn had lost like 12 games in a row.
This is the place for me.
This is the place for me. We were right around 500 my freshman year, and it's probably one of my proudest accomplishments because I said, Coach, we have to go to the NCAA tournament by the time I'm out of here in 4 years. So I think my first year, we were 500. Then next year, Chuck Person comes in, we get a little bit better. And one of the coolest things, my third year, we finally made it to the NCAA tournament. And I had led to the SEC in rebounding all 3 years. Then I said, hey, you know what, I think it's time for me to go to the NBA.
When we come back, Charles makes his way from Auburn to Philadelphia. You thought you were eating your way out of Philadelphia.
I did. Get on the scale, I'm 302. And the guy says, and Harold Cass says, are you kidding me? I don't let you not lose the 10 pounds. You gained like 5 pounds.
Looking to go baseline. Everybody knows it. He beats him and jabs the jab. Everybody knows he's going there. Oh, do it, Mr. Barkley.
Let's talk about draft night.
Ernie, let me tell you this story. So the 76ers bring me in a month before the draft, and I weighed 300 pounds. So the Sixers bring me in and say, we want to see how dedicated and motivated you are. We want you to lose 10 pounds, and then next month get to 290.
Did you think that's easy?
Oh yeah. I thought it was easy. So I go down to Texas with my agent and play. I actually get down about 285. So Philadelphia wants me to stop on my way to New York the day before the draft. So I'm about 285 at this point. My agent sends me down. Remember, they had a hard salary cap back then. He says, well, I think the Sixers might draft you. The only problem is you're going to sign a one-year deal for $75,000. I said, dude, I didn't leave college for a one-year deal for $75,000. So he said, well, the Sixers, they're over the cap. That's what they can give you. I said, I don't want the Sixers to draft me. So that night, we went out. I had 2 big old steaks, big plate of French fries, ate like a whole cake.
So what were you, 301?
Got up the next morning, went to like IHOP, ate like 10 pancakes, a pound of bacon, fly to Philadelphia, get on the scale, I'm 302. And the guy says, and Harold Cass says, are you kidding me? I don't let you not lose the 10 pounds. You gained like 5 pounds.
So you thought you would eaten your way out of Philadelphia?
I did.
Philadelphia 76ers select Charles Barkley of Auburn University.
I was kind of in shock, to be honest with you, because I was like, because, I want to take care of my family.
Right.
I said, what am I going to do with $75,000? But in fairness to the Sixers, they cut Mark Alvarone and a couple other players and gave me, I think my first deal was 4 years, $2 million. I was like, wow, this is the greatest thing in my life.
And you're going into a team that's got its share of high-profile guys.
Ernie, I tell this story. I never slept the night before the training camp. And people said, were you nervous? I said, yeah, but you wouldn't believe what I was nervous about. I just didn't know what to call Dr. J. That was the only thing. Like, I stayed up all night. What do I call him? I don't know him to call him Dr. J. I call him Mr. Irving, Julius. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, wow, how do I approach Dr. J?
So what'd you settle on?
He walked up to me and said, hey, I'm Doc, and stuck his hand out. He did. And I was like, whoa. And,
all that worry for nothing.
All that worry for nothing.
Your first year, you make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
The Sixers. Did you think this is going to be at least this every year, but at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals? I mean, I'll probably make it to the NBA Finals time and time and time again.
I assumed that I'm going to play on a good team all the time. We're going to go to the conference finals or the finals. And I went to the conference finals, I forget, 3 or 4 times, and only made it to the finals once. When you have a chance to win, I take that, like I always, when I'm watching this, if you have a legitimate chance to win the championship, I mean a legitimate chance, you have to hold on to that season and like come together as a team, because it's very rare that you're good enough to actually win the championship. And I always tell people, basketball to me is the hardest sport to win a championship. When you win a championship in basketball, you really are the best team.
Charles, there's another defining moment. You're playing the Nets in New Jersey, and it's the spitting incident. Take me through that.
I was so angry as a player. It came to a head that night in New Jersey. I mean, because like I was, every time I stepped on the basketball court,
even that many years later.
Oh yeah, I was angry at everybody. I was like, they stuck it to me. My high school stuck it to me. Miss Gomez stuck it to me. My dad stuck it to me. So every time I stepped on the basketball court, I would say to myself, I'm gonna go out here and play great and stick with those other people. It wasn't until that night when you're sitting in a hotel room, you're like, I really screwed up tonight. So, but that night, even though that was the second defining moment in my life, and I was like, God, what the hell is wrong with you? Just go play. You don't have to play angry.
When did it hit you that, I've really crossed the line here?
When the reporters came up to me after the game. Because I really thought, when you look at the tape, I didn't think I looked like I just spit, but it is what it is. And after the game, they said, you spit on a little girl. I said, oh, man, I'm in serious trouble here.
When she reached out, did you talk to her?
I did.
When she reached out to forgive you for that?
Yeah, it was really cool.
What was that conversation like?
Well, I think that maybe she wasn't old enough to understand all the stuff that was happening,
right.
But I clearly understood it. And it gives you, when you do something stupid to somebody and they sincerely forgive you, it gives you such relief. So from that night on, were you a different player? Totally different player. But from that night in that hotel room, I said, just step back. Don't play angry. Just play. Because Ernie, when you play sports, you shouldn't play sports to prove it to other people. You should play sports because you want to be the best you can be.
That last year in Philly, you're sub 500.
Yeah.
So how did that whole exit from Philly work? Did you say, I want out, I want to play for a contender, will you trade me?
They're shopping me around like a piece of meat, which is typical of their insensitive organization that I'm associated with. But it's just unfortunate. All athletes realize they are a piece of meat. But I wish the Sixers would realize I'm not a piece of meat. This is my life we're talking about.
The last 2 years in Philly just sucked. I'm hearing rumors all the time. This is the year before. This is the year before I got traded. So my agent called me and said, it's done. You're going to the Lakers.
You got the call.
I got the call.
This is a done deal.
It's a done deal. My agent calls me back 3 hours later. The Sixers were pulled out of the deal. I said, are you kidding me? I was just kind of in shock, to be honest with you. It was time to go. So that went on for a whole nother year, hearing different rumors all the time. It was very difficult and frustrating for me because the team wasn't very good. The team wasn't very good at all. And you just go crazy at some point because you're just so sick and tired of hearing it. You're like, can you please let this be over? I told my agent, I said, go tell them I'm not coming back. They can handle it how they want to because I don't want to alienate the people of Philadelphia. I said, go tell the Sixers when training camp comes around, I am not coming back there. I went through 2 years of every single day, you're going to get traded. You're going to get traded. And at that point, I want to be traded. And finally, I get the call in the middle of the summer, I'm going to Phoenix. And it was a blessing.
Coming up next, from Philly to Phoenix, and a new start.
I said, I got help now. I got help. I'm going to get us to the finals. I said, I want a shot at Michael Jordan, mano a mano.
Charles Barkley, National Basketball Association Most Valuable Player. Congratulations.
This game to win. Barkley 24, yes, 1.8 seconds.
So the Philadelphia era ends for you, but before you go to Phoenix, there's this little matter to take care of during the summer, playing on the Dream Team.
And the Dream Team was very important for me psychologically because at this point, I really needed it because you start thinking, maybe I do suck.
Just because your team is bad?
Yeah, you do. You start thinking like, because, listen, when your team's doing well, you're getting a lot of credit, everybody's patting you on the back, but when your team sucks, everybody's kicking you in the butt. So I'm starting to think, maybe I do suck. And then the NBA, when I got the call, I was like, wow, I can play. I still can play. Chuck Davis said something to me that was one of the greatest compliments I ever got. He says, watching you play every day, I think you're the second best basketball player in the world. I said, there's somebody better than me. And we joked about that. And I tell people this day, that's the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life. But I was secretly saying to myself, I can beat Michael Jordan if I got help now.
When you got back, now it's back to work, and you're in Phoenix.
Yes.
And you're the man, right there. How did you assert your place on that team, and where there was no doubt that this is Charles Barkley's team?
Well, when I got there, this guy says, well, you know, this Dan and Kevin's team. I said, well, until I walked through the door.
Apparently your confidence had been restored.
Oh, yeah, my confidence has been full-blown at this point. And I said, hey, it's going to be cool to play with Dan and Kevin. And I said, but this is my team. I'm the best player. I actually think I'm the best player in the world, to be honest with you. Because I was having a conversation with Cotton Fitzsimmons. And he says, what do you think? I says, well, I'm going to get us to the finals. I said, ain't nobody out here in the West can touch me. I said, I got help now. I said, I got help. I'm going to get us to the finals. I said, I want a shot at Michael Jordan, mano a mano.
You got some crazy numbers in those playoffs in '93 because you were true to your word. You did get them to the finals. But, I mean, games like 43, 15, and 10.
Yeah.
Games of 44 and 24.
That's the best game I've ever played.
Against Seattle.
Yes, because I remember, you know, being a leader of a team, everybody's looking at you. And I remember one of my really good teammates, Frank Johnson. I pulled him aside, flying back to Phoenix for Game 7. We're one game away from the finals. And I said, Frank, what can I do? Because everybody's a little nervous and a little dejected. And I said, what can I do to get everybody's spirits up? He says, I'm not worried about anybody's spirits but yours. And I said, what do you mean? He says, Charles, you've never been to the finals. He says, all you got to do is lead us, play the best game you ever played, and we're going to the finals.
Was that the best game you ever played?
Yeah, that's the best game I played, 44 and 24. I was like, I wasn't going to let us lose that day.
So when you look back now at the finals that year, you got your wish.
Yeah.
You and Michael. Then
that's the first time I ever said to myself, no, not first time, but since I had become a great player, that was the first time I ever said to myself, that guy's better than me. Because no disrespect to Magic Johnson, I thought he had more help. No disrespect to Larry Bird, I thought they had more help. Because the one thing that Phoenix proved to me was, if I get some help, I'm good enough to make my team win. But that was the first time in my life in a long time I said, that guy's better than me.
God want us to win the world championship. I don't know if I go that far, Charles. No, I talked to him the other night.
Didn't you say God wanted you to win that championship?
Well, I did, but I didn't realize he was wearing number 23 for the Bulls. You know, I really thought we were going to win. Once we won the 2 games in Chicago, I did. When we got back to Phoenix, I was like, we're going to win this thing.
How tough is it to watch that? How tough is it to watch that, the Paxson show?
Actually, believe it or not, the Paxson show doesn't even bother me, to be honest with you. What bothers me is Horace Grant